sake, so maybe we could do that.
Okay, so what we're gonna do with this session now is we're just gonna review some of the stuff that I taped this past summer in the Dominican, and it'll refresh your memories for those that have just went and people that have been several years ago. We have people from several years ago here. And just think back on your experiences, things that you saw. We'll be going through bates or the barrios or the retreats.
10 years ago, a group of people in the Hamilton-Niagara region began to meet in order to develop and make real their convictions about justice and peace in the global village. Their focus is the Dominican Republic, and by now, many members of the group have established personal connections to the poorest of the poor living there. Throughout the year, members meet regularly to practice their Spanish, to learn about the history and culture of the Dominican Republic, its current problems, and how people are struggling to cope.
I think the First World has taken an awful lot from the poor countries, and maybe it's us that needs to be forgiven because we have a spiritual debt that we're not paying off.
They don't even make a basic living, and they have to feed families. And so the way they do it is to try to make more by producing more for whom? The t-shirts and the sweatshops are not going to be worn by the children of those who work there. Here on our streets we will see them and be totally unaware of how they were made, how they came to our country. If we're smart in reading labels, we might know. And so I think we have one way of paying the debt, I think, is to have others become aware of what has been going on.
Every year, some members actually travel to the country for first-hand experience. When they return, their stories fuel the group's struggle to understand how social justice teachings about walking with the poor can become a practical reality.
When I went down 2 years ago, it wasn't the first time that I had been to a third world country, and I was detached, you know. I could see there's a lot of poverty there, but it wasn't touching me at all until we came to a corner, and there was a lady there, and she was washing her children's clothes, and she had 2 or 3 little kids standing around her. And what she was washing their clothes in was this green slimy puddle that was at the bottom of a hill, and you could see up on the top of the hill was this rich home, and we made eye contact, and all of a sudden it hit me the reality of what the people were living. You hear statistics of poverty all the time, and behind those statistics are people. And I looked into this woman's eyes. It struck me that this is where we meet God.
They care so much about others that they would give anything they had
even
for other people.
Like, they give you everything. These people, they give you their bed, they give you their house to stay in. They give you their food. And it's so much for these people.
One thing about social justice is you have to take chances, you know. You really do. You have to work towards making a better world. You can't think about your own life or your own selfish self-centeredness. You've got to look towards others and others' needs. So,
for poor people, for them to have justice within that legal system means, you know, you go to the Justice Palace and you grovel and you beg and you bribe, or you do whatever, but it's not that it's there and it's the right of everyone. Right now there are a group of 54 desacatados who are on a hunger strike. I think tomorrow will be about 4 weeks. and members of their family who are on hunger strike at the location of the Colegio de Abogados, College of Lawyers, in the colonial zone of Santo Domingo. So I went to visit them, and I have some information, fax number for faxes that can be sent to support the demands of the desacatados, demands that they be released, that the freedom orders be respected.
There is a lot of hope, and I see it with Josephine and with the group, a lot of work that the group is doing, what Josie is doing in communities in Hamilton, here. And when we visited the Dominican, we met a lot of people who have a lot of faith and a lot of hope, and I think that's what's getting them by.
Well, I can't be the same anymore. I have to get the message out, whether people listen or not. And my friends, I think sometimes they figured, he's overdoing it. How can one overdo when it's touched, really love those people there? How can one overdo?